It's August. Summer's almost over, but don't tell the studios that.
Or the movie's coming out. They still think it's summer. Say, you want to test your Alzheimer's cure, teach sign language, or perhaps accidentally create a species that will destroy humanity?
There's an ape for that.
Let's kick things off with Rise of the Planet of the Apes, the unanticipated prequel to Roland Emmerich's Planet of the Apes remake.
No, David, I believe that was Tim Burton.
Have you seen the movie? It was much more Godzilla than Sleepy Hollow. I'm sorry.
I miss the old days of the original film series, with titles like Beneath the Planet of the Apes,
Within the Planet of the Apes,
Abbott and Costello Meet the Planet of the Apes,
Planet of the Apes, Revenge of the Fallen,
Plan 9 of the Apes,
Planet of the Apes, The Quickening,
Planet of the Apes, X vs. Sever,
Pluto Nash, something, Planet of the Apes.
And of course, Battlefield Earth. This new film harkens back to the original 1968 Planet of the Apes, where a scientist, while trying to cure the common 4-hour erection, develops a drug which enhances brain function in monkeys. Before he can say, "What could go wrong?" apes are rising up against their human captors all over the city. The film stars James Franco, Brian Cox, and Maya Software. Much like Deep Blue Sea, they're trying to cure Alzheimer's, and they inadvertently humanize another species, which then leads to man's destruction. This goes back to what I've always said. We must stop trying to cure Alzheimer's.
Now, the plot of this movie has led many to wonder if it was a prequel or a reboot. Fox Studios says, a kind of prequel story before the first story with a return to the social thematics that marked the first one, but with an entirely contemporary setting. It's that type of clarification that makes me want to move on.
Jason Bateman, Ryan Reynolds, and Olivia Wilde appear in their second movies each this summer.
Yes, from the directors of Cut and Paste comes The Change-Up. Not to be confused with a sequel to The Slider or The Spitball, The Change-Up is either a body-switching fantasy or a series of vignettes about babies and babes. It's Face Off, only funnier.
Reynolds and Bateman star as, respectively, a shallow womanizer and a harried family man who inexplicably, or perhaps splicably, swap bodies with one another for a week, or a month, or for at least the running time of this movie. It seems their souls switched bodies when they peed in the same fountain.
Excuse me, Egon. You said crossing the streams was bad. You're gonna endanger us. You're gonna endanger our client, a nice lady that paid us in advance before she became a dog.
Next up, The Help, based on the novel Push by Sapphire.
The Help is the first movie since For Colored Girls that features female African-American characters not played by Eddie Murphy, Martin Lawrence, or Tyler Perry.
Emma Stone plays aspiring young writer Eugenia Skeeter Phelan. The name Skeeter gives us a glimpse into the character's rich backstory, like perhaps her parents were expecting a son, or a Muppet baby.
It's Mississippi learning, as white folks learn that it's wrong to have a blacks-only toilet outside the house. Now, where I'm from in Western New York, people put toilets in their front yard all the time and call it art.
Apparently, in the 60s, rich white people didn't want to use the toilet after black people did. In my house, you didn't want to use the toilet after my dad did, but that's for a totally different reason.
Eugenia and the African-American maids of this story fought for the rights of black people everywhere. Those were different times. I grew up in the 80s, where we simply fought for the right to party.
Based on the best-selling novel, Skeeter begins telling the stories of the African-American domestic workers in her hometown. These stories form the core of a best-selling book, which causes an uproar amongst the white community in her town. The book is so successful it even becomes a major Hollywood picture, which is then previewed by a clueless white couple in front of an internet audience.
Wow. Do you think that last part's gonna play?
I don't know. We'll have to check the comments box on YouTube.